Hey, what's up? Chad here. I wanted to make a video based on a recent comment that I received on one of my previous videos asking me straight up. He said, what is the difference between dating in the US and dating in the Philippines? I think most people that have looked into it a little bit probably understand some of the main things, or they've heard girls there are more traditional or more caring, things like that. But I wanted to sort of share my personal experiences with dating and being in relationships over there. And for those of you that don't know me, I went to the Philippines in 2022 in October and I started vlogging. A lot of my focus was on meeting somebody, and I did meet some people over there. I made videos about it. I traveled with someone for quite a few months and made videos, and she was a big part of that. And I'm gonna talk a lot about my experiences with who I met and how I learned about the characteristics of a Filipina and what is it like to be in a relationship. And man, it's very, very different compared to dating here in the US. And I can give an example. I actually went on a date recently. I've been back in the US and I'm gonna be here for a couple of months. Anyways, I ended up going on a date. I was like, why not? Let's just see what happens. This is how the date went. So meet her for the first time, and we're hanging out, we're chatting. Well, I quickly realized the conversation was 100% about her. And as I was talking, I could just see her eyes glaze over, not interested, right? All about her. She's ordering drinks, one after the other, expensive drinks. Oh, and let me just say this. The conversation was about how she was married for so many years and I don't need a man, I make good money, yada, yada. And so this kind of carries on. And then we get to a point where it's like, all right, I gotta go. The bill comes out, not even a flinch, not any sort of attempt to say, hey, can I contribute to this? Oh, let me just mention this. Not only did she order one drink after another, the most expensive cocktails on the menu, she ordered like the most expensive seafood dish on the menu too. And then the bill comes out and it was like $100. And not only that, like after paying the bill, there wasn't even a thank you. There like, it's no appreciation whatsoever. There's this entitlement aspect to dating in the US. And that's the part that I think so many guys are tired of, among some other things. This is a reason why there's passport bros that want to get the heck out of here, feeling unappreciated and not being able to find the kind of caring, girl that's just focused on the guy and caring for the guy to make the guy feel that much more motivated to care for her and have this sort of back and forth thing. It's really, really hard to find that here. There are great girls here that are available, but there's not many. I mean, it's not easy. And this is not just my experience. This is all my single friends from over the years. It's the same thing. You hear about it all the time. Anyways, rant over. Let's talk about dating in the Philippines. I think you guys want to know more about that. Yep, I'm gonna talk about my previous relationships in the Philippines a little bit. All right, before anything, let me just say this. If you guys have been following this channel for a while, you know that I've been very hesitant to say too much about my previous relationships. Rosie and I traveled together for several months, and when I first came to the Philippines, I met a girl named Cybele, and I made a video about it. Actually, she's in a couple of different videos because I had gone back out there to meet with her. And for me, I really was hesitant to say anything. For one, new to YouTube, being extra cautious, but more importantly, I think it just was instinctual for me to not want to talk about something that's personal and talk about somebody else because I don't think it's fair to them. I don't mind just speaking positives, and that's what I'm going to focus on this video. But when things end in a relationship, obviously there's negative things that can happen in a relationship, and I don't want to use my platform to talk about that about somebody else. So I replied to many comments. I got a lot of negative feedback, a lot of assumptions made about me and what happened. I can't really help that. I can't change that. I'm not gonna say negative things about anybody. I will try my best to talk about my relationships just to reflect on generalities, to try to help people understand what it's like dating in the Philippines. And that's the point of this video and future videos where I do talk about previous relationships. So just wanted to get that out of the way. To back up, I met Cybele online. We met on OkCupid. We started chatting. We did a few video calls. We were kind of slowly getting to know each other. I would say slowly for sure. I would say a little bit of language barrier and a little bit of shyness and hesitation, to do video calls and things like that. So keep that in mind if you're chatting with girls from the province. That could be a barrier to sort of, really getting to know them. And that's where meeting in person for me is so important. So that was the plan. We ended up making a plan for me to come out there and meet her. I went out there when I first came to the Philippines, made that video about it. And the experience was unbelievable. But here's the things that really stood out to me right away as being different. There was this overall feeling of someone that respected you, that catered to you, that wanted to be hospitable, that wanted to be thoughtful, that was checking in with you on how you're doing, how you're feeling. A real sweetness. That's something that stood out right away when I met Cybele. She was definitely shy for sure, and the conversations, I must say, were pretty limited. There was some language barrier, but I think the shyness played a bigger part in that. And if you're experienced with dating Filipinas, especially from the province, this is a very common thing. It was something that was new for me, and looking back as time went on, I really gained a better understanding of what Filipinas are like and what girls in the province are like. And at the time, I didn't quite understand that. And so I would say that was the biggest struggle, was just engaging in dialogue and really getting to know each other, connecting through conversation. And that's something that I would say I was very used to in the West. If I was connecting with someone, it really came through that dialogue and conversation and banter and things like that. And just keep that in mind. If you love the idea of meeting a girl from the province due to their family values and the traditional values and things like that, that is something that often comes with the territory. As someone that is more shy, that conversation could be limited. But I do believe, now that I've learned a lot more, I think that's something that can really change over time. That person can, with improved English, for example, if that's a barrier, or just getting more comfortable, that's going to improve. And the real person and her sense of humor and all of those things will come out over time. So this was a learning thing for me. I did notice something that was different that, people do talk about as far as Filipinas or Asian girls being more submissive or subservient or things like that. I'm not even sure what the right term is to describe this, but I did feel a sense of her kind of looking to me for making decisions and things like that, where American girls will often take charge and be more in control and want to be more dominant in that regard and things like that. So these are key differences for sure. And so for me, that was just a new thing. I mean, I found it really sweet. I often kind of check back with her, not wanting to just be the only one that made a decision, wanting her to feel a part of that as well. That was just my instincts, but that's something that's definitely different for sure. So this is one thing that really stood out to me as being quite different than dating here in the U.S., because I had never experienced anything like it before. But for example, we're about to head to the beach and I'm putting some sunblock on, and I start to bend down to put some on my legs and my foot, and she just instinctually jumped in and grabbed the sunblock and was like, no, let me help you with that. And so she starts putting it on my legs, and I was just like, oh, you don't have to do that. But she was like, no, what do you mean? So different for me. I had no issue with it. I mean, it was super sweet and so thoughtful. And plus I have a bad back, so bending over sucks. But I've heard about this and it came true. It's like Filipinas, not only do they not mind, it's just natural for them to want to help you with these kind of things. So this is just something for me that's very different. And I think it's just such a sweet and nice aspect of a Filipina. And also things like, in the morning, instincts are to hop up and make coffee, and here's your coffee for the morning. Like, blown away, the level of sweetness. And these are things that, to back up to my date that I used as an example, for me, treating is really no issue. Like, I don't mind, but for me, it's all about balance and back and forth. And when you have someone that, without saying anything, they want to do things for you like that, help you with this or make you coffee or whatever, like, this is where it all starts to work out so much better, when you have that approach where two people are being thoughtful to each other without having to think about it or ask for it. So right away, it makes you feel, it just makes you feel good. It makes you feel, for me, it gives me a jolt of energy. It's just like, wow, this is so nice. And it never made me feel like I just want to sit back and take advantage of that. Like, to me, it would only help in a relationship. So the last thing I'll mention as far as my experience out in the province with Cybele that really stood out to me as being different, at least for the most part, is the level of focus and importance of family and the family dynamic. Not that families are not important in the U.S. and, it's on a spectrum here. There's everything, but more often than not, Filipinas are going to be extremely close to their family. That's their number one priority. Decisions and everything that they do sort of runs through the family. It's all intertwined. A lot of Filipino families live together even as they get older, where in the US, maybe at 18 you move out or you go to college and you just start doing your own thing. There's more independence. I mean, I live in another country from my family. I live in Florida, they're up in Canada. So it's just different, and I'm close with my family, but that's just normal here. The reason I wanted to mention that, I think it's a positive for sure, but it does impact, a relationship. Like you're getting involved with someone that is extremely involved with their family. For me, it was something that, again, it was part of the learning and the growing as I spent time in the Philippines to, have to learn to appreciate or just understand those differences. Cybele's family was the absolute sweetest, nicest people, so welcoming, just so humble and so kind and so grateful for everything. And more than anything, meeting Cybele, meeting her family, and the time that we did spend together, I learned so much in that short amount of time than perhaps I did on my whole trip, because it was right out of the gates, it was right at the beginning, and it was an eye-opening experience in the different way of life and making so much happen out of when you don't have a lot, and being happy when you don't have a lot, and the importance of family and the importance of friends and quality relationships. And even though things did not evolve into a relationship and kind of life went on for both of us, I carry with me so many positive things from that experience, and I think that's really super, super important. Cybele is a wonderful person, and I wish her nothing but the best. I'm inside now. It started raining out there, so I'm just going to finish the video in here. But let's just fast forward about a month. That's when I met Rosie online, also on OkCupid. So guys, if you're thinking about doing some online dating, I'd have to say that's my recommendation for sure. Anyways, we connected pretty quickly through our conversation, through our dialogue and banter and similar sense of humor. And what I learned about Rosie is that she actually grew up in the province, and she had a lot of those characteristics that I just mentioned. But she also had worked in call centers. She had a long-term relationship with a foreigner boyfriend. And those things played a big part in who she was at the time that I met her. And I'd have to say, like, that did impact how we connected. When I mentioned, conversation and those things, it did make it really easy because it was familiar. And you're going to actually find that you'll meet a lot of people. Like, let's say they're in the city and they're working at a call center or somewhere. They may have grown up in the province, and they may have carried a lot of those characteristics with them, combined with some of these more modern, or what we would consider more Western traits, if they had dated foreigners and things like that in the past. So, that's something that I can honestly say did impact how we connected, and how, I guess, it was easy right from the start to spend time together. And eventually, of course, we traveled together and things like that. If you've followed my channel, there's tons of videos with Rosie and I island hopping and going to different places. And so yeah, that was a big part of our connection. So she had those traits of someone from the province. But one thing with Rosie, and I also think is consistent with Filipinas, is really high level of patience, calmness, kindness, loved animals, loved kids. These are traits that I think are very common with Filipinas. And when I mention being patient, in the West, everything is go, go, go. And I think what I've found is that a lot of Filipinos, they're used to dealing with struggles at times. And I think that you just learn to go with the flow. And I learned a lot from Rosie in that regard. Very calm, very patient, and of course, easygoing. You saw in the video, our chemistry was really good, and we just had a lot of fun traveling together. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to make this video to talk a little bit about, my dating and relationship experience, just because obviously I have videos that people watched and enjoyed, and then were wondering. And as much as I did answer comments, I didn't want to open up for the reasons mentioned before, but I thought more and more about it. And I realized there's really nothing wrong about opening up about something. I can focus on the positives. I've gotten to a point where I just think of the good times that I had, and I'm at a point now where I can, talk about it to where I can help people that are also, looking to go to the Philippines and meet somebody. In every relationship, even when things are good, you could run into, maybe there's compatibility issues and you realize it's just not the best thing to do. And sometimes just things happen in a relationship that you have to make a tough decision on, and you have to move on with your life. It does happen, but it doesn't mean that you can't cherish good memories and talk about it. And that's where I'm at now, and I feel really good about eventually hopefully being with someone from the Philippines, because I just really love all of these characteristics and all these things that I mentioned in this video, things that I experienced through these relationships. So I am going to hang on to all of the good memories that I shared throughout my time. I wish Rosie nothing but the best if you're watching. And guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I hope me sharing some of this stuff helps you out. I'm going to be making more videos like this in the future, so stay tuned for that. Take care. See you next time.